Welcome back, you filthy exiles. So, as you would have seen on stream, I am playing with another build. Now, with Detonate Dead, there are a few limitations currency-wise for that build. So, to make it work the way that it's intended to work, unfortunately, I've had to put it on hold because I need more currency. And then I got sidetracked and I wanted to play this build because it's really cool. Anyway, what are we playing? What are we doing? Alright, so we're playing General's Cry, which is something that I tested, I think, at the end of last league. I think we're like mid-league now, week 8. So we're two-thirds of the way through the league, and unfortunately the league's a bit dead, but hey, we can still have fun. And I actually haven't played in the last week a great deal, so yeah, we're gonna go forth and conquer. So, how does this work? Alright, well, number one, we are using a few unique items to make this work. You can do it without the uniques, but this just makes it convenient. This is basically a literal walk through the park build. So we run around and yeah, we summon our Karui Mirage Warriors. As you can see, their corpses all over the ground. Now, the way that you do this is by running General's Cry. You attach whatever the melee skill or skill that you want to General's Cry to basically have the minions attack with, and then then you map that to your walk button and you can General's Cry until your heart's content. Now, what do you need to do in order to get the minions to keep spawning? Well, you need corpses on the ground. Well, there's a solution for that. We run the Corpse Walkers, and basically what these boots do is they basically go, you get level 20 corpse walk when equipped. That basically means as you walk around, corpses spawn on the ground, and then when your war cry goes off, that then triggers the General's Cry, and your shield bash minions, then or shield crush minions, then come on screen. We'll just go into D&D mode. So basically then they just attack everything. Now, we're going to roll with shield crush here. You can actually run it with Shield Charge. Shield Charge does scale really well. I already got it to 71,000 DPS just on my my 4-link setup, and obviously that's a non-minion or non-sort of minion setup. Now, is General's Cry a minion skill? No. In short, it's not. It's a war cry. So in this case, we do use the Zerker to stack this one up, and we'll talk about the tree very shortly. So overall gearing, we'll just go through very briefly. Helm, all resistant life. I've got a pride res reduction helm. Now, you know, I'm piecing this together with gear out of my cache as well that I've collected over the league. So this is by far nowhere near where it should be geared, and I'll talk about what stuff I'll do this because I'm going to keep playing this build. I'm actually really just enjoying it. It's really chill. Does good damage too. So one of the mandatory uniques is you need the Dark Seer Shadow Scepter. The reason why is enemy blind does not affect your chance to hit. 10% global blind, and enemies blinded by you while you are blinded have malediction, which really doesn't do anything, but basically it's the blind on hit that matters. With this, does more damage, and it also synergizes with something else that I'll talk about very shortly. So the obvious next thing is big kick-ass shield. In this case, I've got one with 2644 armor. Now you're going to need more armor on your shield because shield crush scales with armor. You know, do the math, you get more damage, more armor. So as much armor as you can get on your shield, do it. This is not the same as like the Blade Flurry version of this build where you use the red blade banner shield. In this case, any shield that gets you close to 3,000 armor, you're doing well. Amulet, I've just got any old amulet which has pride reservation reduction, and you're going to anoint this with gladiatorial combat on the tree. Chest piece, now I'll talk about this one actually. So this is just any old chest piece that I had. However, I would recommend using the Crishian Carpus, and the reason why is because we probably want to have Aspect of the Crab later down the track. And the reason why I say this is one of the biggest problems with running a Zerker build is the Aspect of Carnage ascendancy, which results in 10% increased damage taken. Now, for whatever reason, that seems to make the Zerker really squishy, and it's an absolute pain in the ass. To get around that, Aspect of the Crab is the solution. And basically you get 2% additional physical damage reduction for every crab barrier that you get, and you get 10 crab barriers The carapace itself is incredibly powerful, so it's this piece of armor here. So you get about 2600 armor flat off it, up to 120 life, cold and fire resist, and bleeding cannot be inflicted on you, which makes it a really powerful piece of armor. And this will be my target armor that I go for, for late game for this particular build. Now, gloves, I'm using Sinestral gloves. The reason why is this buffs up your offhand damage. You can get that up to 50%. Because we're running a shield build, this is actually really important. And you're going to go for life and all resist where you can, and any other damage modifiers that you can get on this. Belt, I am just running a Vengeance buckle, but once I balance out everything, I'll be running a Reslythers for physical damage. Obviously Corpse Walkers. Now rings, all resist, life, and any other attributes you need. In my case, I needed intelligence. And then I'm just running a Lahoop of all at the moment because I'm still in that leveling phase. Now, gem setups, I'll just talk about that quickly. So my helm, ignore Ice Golem, we don't need that. Precision, Dread Banner, and Pride. 3 key auras for this build. Now, I should note this is a critical strike version. This is not unwavering stance, so we're taking completely different, completely different approach to this. In the Mace Scepter, we're running Shield Charge, Faster Attacks, and Fortify Support. In the shield itself, cast and damage taken at level 3. Blood Rage and Molten Shell, so that triggers automatically. In the chest piece, we're running Shield Crush, Increased Critical Strike, General's Cry, Brutality, Impale, Pulverize. In my gloves, which isn't yet complete, we're running Berserk and Blood and Sand and just a Portal Gem. And in my boots, I'm running Ancestral War Chief, Maim, Culling Strike, and Faster Attacks. Now, I'll talk about the tree shortly, but I want to talk about the damage stats in the POB, so I'll just switch windows for a tick and I'll be back in 2 seconds. Okay, so I thought I'd go through the tree this time because I want to talk about the damage in particular. Now, right here, you're going to see 14 million DPS. This isn't accurate. Like, it probably does a couple mil, maybe 3 mil DPS. It's definitely not 14 mil DPS. And this is what this is the problem with POB sometimes, is in particular with this build, and this was the same with like another variation I did last league, is like, yeah, it's getting up there, but I don't believe it's 14 mil DPS. Like, potentially could be, and that could be all Mirage Warriors combined, aggregately bashing on shit. But, by the time I'm sort of close to being near level 90, it's going to be something like close to 30 to 40 mil DPS. I just don't think that's legit, but I could be wrong. Pretty much how the tree works in this case, though, is you're pretty much going to come in and collect these nodes up to Warrior's Blood, come back here. Now, with crit version, you're going to get Eagle-Eyed. If you weren't playing crit, you'd grab Bravery and you'd probably grab Defiance. But because we need the nodes, we're going to grab Eagle-Eyed. You come up, grab Admolisher. You will need a Brutal Restraint with the Nasima modifier, or a denoted service of Dekara. And that's mainly so you can get Second Sight. And Second Sight means that you are blind, and then our Dark Seer, I'm in the wrong screen. Our Dark Seer then stops you from getting blinded, and you also do more critical strike chance by 25% while you're blinded. So this is really good if you're rolling for crit. Then you grab Force Skewering and Constitution for health. Then you come back up, pick up Deep Breaths. By the way, you also, I said you need an Admolisher. You need Deep Breaths. This is to basically max out Warcry, because we're going for Warcry stacking here. So Tireless next, and then you'll grab this node here for a jewel. Then I do have a cluster jewel in here. It's a pretty shit 9 link. I think that's what, 9 or 8. That is an 8 passive cluster, large cluster. The key thing that we're doing right now is we're grabbing these medium clusters with the right nodes. So right now I've got Rattling Blows and Horning Shout. This means enemies are intimidated. I've also got Basics of Pain and Pressure Points. This one's a little more expensive. I can't pull it up in the tree. And then basically I'll spec this out in another video because I'm going to keep playing this build, so I'll get this up to a point where it's tenable to play. Now obviously we don't take Resolute Technique because we're running crit on this, and as you can see, we've got a chance to hit at 97% already at nearly 65% crit chance, which is pretty damn good. And then we spec up to disemboweling. We'll definitely need escalation. You get 10% increased life recovered every time you drop a war cry and 20% increased damage. Barbarism. I am running a Replica's Conqueror's Efficiency because this gives me +5 to rage. It also gives me non-channeling skills have -9 to total mana cost, which means that I'm only running around and popping like 8 mana per Warcry, which is really good and it's really sustainable. So it works on this build in its current iteration. I'm also running Juggernaut as I come down here. And then definitely need to pick up Natural Authority, and you'll pick up Call to Arms and Bloodless, and then obviously the Cluster Jewels down here. I am running another medium cluster, and I have another medium cluster to go as well. This I'm not anywhere near where it should be, but I am running Furious Assault and Ironbreaker in here, and I'd probably get Master of Fundamentals as well as a third passive, and then basically get another Rattling Blow gem. With what have I got in here? Warning Call, sorry. And then also I've picked up Dismembering here. Now, when you're early leveling, you're going to want to get Call to Arms really early. So basically, when you build down here, you're also going to want to patch these two. You'll want to patch these two nodes in here, and then grab Call to Arms as soon as you can, so you can start dropping constant war cries as you run around. Otherwise, you won't be able to play this build the way that it's intended in this guide. But that's pretty much it. Now, again, just the damage stats are pretty crazy off the charts here. I don't fully believe that that's accurate at 14 mil, but hey, I could be wrong. I'd like to be wrong about that. It feels pretty strong. It feels really powerful. But this is just one of those distorters that people look at. Now, configurations, you can have a tinker through here, but all of this is pretty accurate. This is set on Cyrus DPS, so I'm not full of shit. So this is saying 14 mil Cyrus DPS, which I just don't believe. I don't think POB has an accurate way of discerning the differential DPSs between things like Mirage Warriors and things like that. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. Anyway, let's get into a bit of gameplay and I'll show you what this build does. I should probably add ascendancies that you'll want to get in this as well. So first thing you'll get Warbringer, then Aspect of Carnage, then Crave the Slaughter, and then Rite of Ruin. And that's basically just going to stack Rage and Stun Immunity and 40% increased damage, and Warcries will be even more effective. So anyway, we'll get into a map and crank this out. Alright, so for the purpose of this, we'll just run a T14 map. We're not going to go crazy, but just as a bit of an example of what it looks like. Sorry, a T8 map, not a T14. I don't know why I said T14. In the next video, when we gear this up a bit more and level it up more, I'll do a T14. Show you what it looks like, and we should be able to do Cyrus Building. So, as you can see, as you run around, it's picking up minions, and then basically they just go around and bash enemies. Now, the problem with the Zerker is obviously the survivability, which needs a bit of work, but as an overall, it's pretty good. And obviously the Onslaught, we basically just smack our shield charge around to get around and generate Fortify. You can drop a totem or two now and again when you feel like it. And then yeah, you just sort of let the minions do their thing. And they'll just follow you around and kill everything.
It's my lucky day.
And this is pretty much the entire playstyle. Like, we thought carrying golems was lazy. This just takes it to a whole different level. Like, all you have to do with this is move. And if you're really smart, you can just set up auto trigger flasks. So basically, with the new instilling orbs and whatnot, so basically your flasks just trigger by themselves with the exception of your life flask. And then now and again you might want to hit Berserk, so you go more speed, more damage. And then just make sure you're in blood stance, otherwise you won't do the damage that you're after. And then it just deletes boss, like that. It's that simple. Yeah, that's pretty much the build. At least where it's at right now. I'll put the POB for this in the description so you can see what it looks like and you can have a tweak with it yourself. This is in progress. This one I will continue to push because it is actually quite successful, and I'll be able to get it up to level pretty quickly. Shield Crush, to be honest with you, this league has pretty much been the best skill of this league for me. Yeah, just off the back of my first build and now this build, yeah, they're going to nerf it. Like, we know they're going to nerf it. That's just inevitable. But play it while you can and give it a crack if you've got some spare currency. Like, maybe probably just for like less than 4 Exalt as it is right now. And then total build probably 10 Exalt, not including the chest piece. That one's going to be expensive. But yeah, anyway, until next time, like and sub, and bye.